Read about the things that happen throughout the world. Don't believe in everything you see or hear. Read all about it. Read all about it. News of the world. News of the world. Read all about it. Read all about it. News of the world. News of the world.
Hello and welcome to Mock the Week. I'm Dara O'Brien. Joining me this week are Andy Parsons, David Mitchell and Russell Howard, Frankie Boyle, Hugh Dennis and Adam Hills. We start with a round called Headliners. Here's a picture of the spectacular opening to the Olympic Games. But what does BGMC stand for?
Is it British Gas Managers Celebrate?
Is it British Games Much Crapper?
Is it bottled gas meets cigarette?
I know this one, actually. It's Barry George, Merry Christmas.
Is it bullshit generated on a Mac computer?
Is it?
Do you think that's how they did it? It's all Photoshop.
That's why they had so many people dancing. They just did one of them and then did Control V, Control V, Control V, Control V, Control
Reality,
V.
it was an
Control V.
empty stadium with just George Bush.
Is it, I've got one, is it Bob Geldof meets Christ?
Are you sure it's not barbecue's gone massively cockeyed?
Surely. Yes, it was in a Chinese paper. It's actually...
That's fine now, is it? Just to sort of say Chinese sounds a bit weird. To people who don't speak. Now China's got an economy, the racism's all allowed again.
Is it properly Beijing Games most costly, I would have thought?
Yes, it is. Very good. Well done, Hugh Dennis. Yes, the answer I was looking for was Beijing Games most costly. This is the news that the Beijing Olympics costs are expected to exceed £20 billion, making the most expensive in history. The opening ceremony is watched by 91,000 spectators and dozens of world leaders in the Olympic Stadium.
Is there really a purpose to having an Olympic opening ceremony? It's not like I would have switched on the telly today and seen people jumping into sandpits and going, what the hell's this? Hollyoaks has changed. I didn't realise there were this many muscular black men in Chester.
What's great about it, though, is you watch the opening ceremony and you just forget about all the human rights. It's the equivalent of, like, listening to an early Michael Jackson album. You kind of like, forget it, he's brilliant. Do you know what I mean? But it just shows you the power of fireworks. Do you know what I mean? That you just kind of... You can't not turn into a 6-year-old boy. Just go, ooh. They should have them at doctors, you know, it's terminal. Catherine Wheel. You know? It's just amazing ability to make you forget about everything.
I don't think it didn't make me stop thinking about human rights abuse.
Well, you're a deep man, Dara. You're a deep man.
So when I saw 16,000 people dancing in perfect coordination, do you know, human rights abuse, slave labour was exactly what popped into my mind.
Yeah.
How do you get people to do that so much? Oh, you're right, you run a dictatorship.
It shows you the advantages of totalitarianism. Organisationally, it's an extremely efficient system. It's only this sanctity of human life thing that we're clinging on to for some reason that means that our games are going to look so shit.
You wouldn't want to be the one Chinese guy who danced out of sync, would you? Just find yourself sort of... I don't remember a man with a rifle in the dress rehearsal. There goes me and my village.
Did you see? Did you see the drummer, though? The drummer was the amazing bit, when they were kind of doing that for ages, and then it cut up to one of them when he finished, just going... like that. Because, you know, they just flashed an image of his nan just going, if you don't get it right, she will die.
And then there was the bloke, wasn't there? The bloke with the Olympic flame, which apparently had travelled round the world in an aeroplane.
Yeah.
So you can't take 100 millilitres of liquid onto the plane, but you can take a lit torch.
Hang on, they flew through it on a plane. And with the other passengers not going, I'm getting unnaturally drowsy at the moment. So, any chance you could put out the...
Well, there was a great point in the coverage, the BBC coverage, where they said, oh, this Chinese opening ceremony is glossing over bad elements in their history. And you think, well, of course it is. I mean, it's not like the London opening ceremony is going to be a warts and all portrayal of British history, is it? Not going to bring on children of all nations and slaughter them at bayonet point. Now we have the Irish potato famine expressed through the medium of rhythmic dance. And now some acrobats and clowns will reenact the shooting of Jean-Charles Domenech.
We'd like to welcome the US basketball team celebrating Britain's role in the slave trade.
The ironic thing about the smog, though, isn't it, is that they say that the Great Wall of China is one of the few things on Earth that you can see from space, and yet, when you're at the Great Wall of China, look up, you can see sod all.
You can't see space, essentially, yeah.
There are plenty of places on Earth you can see space from, though. I mean, that's not the problem. I mean, most spaces, not indoors, but, like, outside this building, you can see space, a bit of space.
But you can't from the Great Wall of China,
No.
because there's just little bits of soot coming down on your head.
So that's probably all you can see in space, is the soot. It's not the wall at all.
To be honest, they probably...
Actually,
I doubt that's what
sorry
they're
to interrupt with the fact, but yes, you can't
Unless it's-
actually see the Great Wall of China from space. What you can see is the dust around the Great Wall of China.
Why don't they hoover it?
I love the idea that question underlying these hypocritical Olympics. Why don't they hoover their walls? Democracies hoover things.
The Chinese
Till they
ambassador,
learn to hoover, they won't be a proper country. Not in
the Chinese ambassador's sitting at home going, I wonder how people received our opening ceremonies, which is this one. Why don't they hoover the Great Wall of China? I didn't even like the opening ceremony, man.
How can you not have liked the opening
People
ceremony?
in tracksuits and explosions. I had a flashback to living in Glasgow.
I'll admit, on a pure showbiz front, right, it is a bit... Because you do a big show, you do 90 minutes of spectacular stuff, right? But, like, say if you go to a show, right, Mary Poppins or something, you see the singing and the dancing and the spectacle, you don't go, that was great. What I need now is a parade of 205 nations slowly walking into the room. Some of them tiny, with one guy holding a flag, looking lonely.
I think you'll find it's 204 nations. Georgia's just gone.
But did you see... They opened with Zimbabwe as well. Did you see that? Because it went in accordance with characters in the Chinese alphabet. They didn't go first.
Oh, is that how they picked it?
Yeah, I think so. Anyway, you just see the Zimbabweans go, really? Shit. So you're just going to come out. Look at that. Just like, it was hilarious. Just, they generally looked a bit shocked.
They had to go first, though, didn't they? Because if they went last, their currency would have depreciated too much.
Well, Frankie, I've actually got to go to the Paralympics in September for Australian television, and my job is actually to commentate on all the Paralympians coming into the venue. I know. So, which is why I've said nothing bad about China thus far.
Yeah, you've been quite diplomatic, haven't you?
I'm intrigued that you're directing this to me. Are you looking for my advice on how to keep it light?
They're actually struggling, though, to fill the seats, aren't they?
800,000 students have been roped in to fill the seats, and it is kind of ironic to go to students. Students, we need you in Tiananmen Square for the next 2 weeks. No, not like that time. Not like that time. Wait a minute. I've been fooled before on this. No, come on.
You're not going to stop talking about, ceremonies and start talking about winning medals, or is that just an Australian thing?
Somebody hasn't been watching the dressage punk. I think you find in all the posh sports that aren't really sports, we're doing very well indeed.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're kicking your ass in dancing horses and tiny yachts. They are eating. They're owning you in that.
Any of the sports where African men can't actually afford to take part, we're ripping it.
Also, do you not get pissed off, though, that every time an Australian does win, on the flag, there's a tiny little Union Jack in the corner?
Because if we added the 25% of your medals that we thereby get, we don't do so badly.
You've picked the wrong tactic with this nation of embittered losers.
We're meant to get 42 medals this Olympics, and then more in London, but it doesn't say that you have to win them. So we could just send teenagers out with knives and... Steal them off the other competitors.
I think that's likely to be part of the opening ceremony anyway. If it's like a diorama of modern Britain.
They're going to use the torch to light a stolen Ford Mondeo.
And who is that on the roof of the stadium? Oh, it's Fathers for Justice.
Or just confess that we can't compete, right, and just spend a fiver on it, and have Paula Radcliffe dressed as a clown with a sparkler.
A droopy clown, a clown with a tear.
I think, right, London, they're never going to do better fireworks than the Chinese, right? What they should do, what's the budget? 30 million. Spend it all on one big firework that we use to knock the moon into the sun like a pool ball. And in the 8 minutes it takes for the supernova blastback to destroy Earth, Sebastian Koji stands there and goes, "Get it up, you China!"
OK, at the end of that round, the points go to Russell, David and Andy! Now we play a round called the 4x1 Joke Relay. This game involves Adam, Andy, Frankie and Russell, so if you could make your way to the performance area, please. This is where we test our performers' stand-up skills. We spin our news generator that settles on a topic and then you can volunteer jokes about the chosen subjects. Points will be awarded for degree of difficulty and artistic merit. OK, here we go. Let's spin the wheel. The first subject is US politics. Can we have someone on that? Andy Parsons.
Now, the Democrats, they're saying, aren't they? They're saying that Barack Obama will become the first black president of the United States of America. He'll be up against Senator John McCain, right? A man famously went on American radio and when asked what did he think about Iran, he sang, "Bomb, bomb, 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 Iran." Basically, bomb Iran to the tune of Barbara Ann by the Beach Boys. That's not the man we need in the White House, is it? Mr. President, what do you think of the recent earthquake in China? Good, 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 good vibrations.
Well done, Andy Parsons. OK, let's spin the wheel again. The subject is Ireland.
I learnt in Ireland last year that there is consternation over the legal age of consensual sex. The minimum age, which is a grey area, as is the maximum age. There is a bizarre law in Ireland, and I know this because an Irish politician spoke out against it, and the law stands like this. If two 16-year-olds in Ireland attempt to have sex and go all the way through with it, that's legal. But if two 16-year-olds in Ireland attempt to have sex but do not go all the way through with it, that's against the law. I don't know. As if there isn't already enough pressure on you. To get it right at the age of 16. Now, if you get it wrong, it's also a criminal offence. Imagine that sitting on the edge of her bed, humiliated, pants around your ankles, she's in tears, you've somehow flicked her in the eye with a condom. And the door bursts open. Police, you bollocksed that up now, didn't you?
Adam Hills. OK, that leaves us with Frankie and Russell. Let's spin the wheel. The next topic is science. Frankie.
Viagra's overrated, isn't it? Do you know Viagra actually takes half an hour to have any effect? I often find that in that time, the woman has managed to wriggle free. You've seen this thing on phones? The word cancer is on predictive text. Who's texting people the news that they've got cancer? I've got cancer. Laugh out loud. Sad face. Can I ask you something? How long is too long to text back to someone? My wife still thinks that I died on September the 11th. It's a good way of getting out of a relationship. A little trick I picked up off my dad shortly before his untimely death aboard the Challenger space shuttle.
Very good. OK, Russell, let's see what you've been left with. Let's spin the wheel. OK, it's tabloids.
I heard this incredible story the other day. I was in Australia, and there was hysteria about whether it's right or wrong to teach 3-year-olds about gay relationships. And honestly, you should have seen the letters written in. Not in my name. This is nothing short of child abuse. And you sat there going, well, it's not, is it? What it is piss your pants funny. There's nothing wrong with being gay, of course there's not. But when you're 3, you're into custard and jumping. Occasionally, you can fit this into your hectic schedule. They want to bum each other. Busy, Mum. That's a hill, and I'm going to roll down it like I'm a sausage. So, I love the idea of this uber-liberal parent just going up to the 3-year-old. Tom, sometimes a lady can love a lady. Oh, like in Daddy's videos.
At the end of that round, the points go to Russell and Andy. Our next round is called If This Is the Answer, What is the Question? On the board are 6 categories. Adam, which category would you like?
The economy, please, Dara.
The economy is the category. Yep. The answer is 691 million. What is the question?
My first thought was, how many people worldwide will watch Boris Johnson pick up the Olympic torch and think, ooh, David Bowie's let himself go?
Is it how much is a Kit Kat in Zimbabwe?
Is it what speed does Jeremy Clarkson think is reasonable in the built-up area?
Is it what does C-3PO shout when he ejaculates?
That's very...
Is it how many shitty political cartoons with bears with the word Russia written on them have been printed in the last week?
Is it at what age did God have his midlife crisis? Oh, the son's left home.
Is it how many lies has the average grandad told? Oi, if you're watching, you didn't kill a bear.
What would the $6 million man cost now?
What does Kerry Katona claim in child benefit?
I know the actual answer. It's how much money did the Royal Bank of Scotland say that they'd lost this week?
Yes, exactly right. Well done. The question I was looking for is how much money in pounds did the Royal Bank of Scotland lose in the first half of 2008? It's the second biggest loss in UK banking history and was described by the company's chief executive as a chastening experience.
You know, with an overdraft that big, it's going to get bigger as well, because they're going to have to start charging themselves 30 quid a cheque now.
The Royal Bank of Scotland, it has to be said, they've invested very badly, haven't they?
Yeah,
apparently they've sunk most of their money into Bone Kickers action figures, Georgian holiday cottages, and a movie where Chevy Chase plays John Leslie.
Well, it's the other way round. It'll be a brilliant film.
Does anyone here actually have an an account with Royal Bank of Scotland?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so do I. So let's play a new game. What in my wallet is worth more than my actual Royal Bank of Scotland card now? Let's see, my Qantas frequent flyers, that's probably worth more. 20 Australian dollars. That's, what, 2 quid? What?
The Australian dollars.
Can I keep your cash card?
Wow. The Australian dollars have like a see-through. You can look through. How cool is that? And they're all like, wow. What, so you can make goggles with them because you're always out surfing. Oh, look at me and my goggles. I'm Australian. Look at me.
Wow, the banks are humped, aren't they? Do you know that the new advert for the Halifax is just Howard hanging from a noose, swinging while the voiceover says he missed his interest payments?
What I find incredible was the use of language. He lost 691 million and described it as a chastening experience. If I lost that amount of money, I'd make the noise of a badger with its nuts caught in a bike.
The government, they're actually allowing gambling adverts now for the first time. The only gambling adverts they're not allowing are apparently those gambling adverts that suggest that gambling might be a way out of debt. But those are the actual adverts I would quite like to see. You know, worried about bankruptcy? Well, why not consolidate all your loans into one easy bet on the 3:30 at Cheltenham?
I'd like, you know, the whole thing with, because of the credit crunch and also property prices dropping, in a couple of months' time, Grand Designs is going to get really interesting. Yeah, I'm doing the house up. I've got a budget of £4. Thought I might paint the door.
The Royal Bank of Scotland were apparently investing in what's known as toxic futures. There's a hint for you if you're buying toxic
The
futures.
thing is, though, this sort of money, that amount of money, is just some numbers on a computer, sort of disappearing or reappearing, or noughts go, you know. It must be very tempting at the point when you realise that. Someone will sneak up to you and go, just type it back in. There's no actual stuff. I mean, nothing's caught fire or exploded or sunk or anything. It's just a load of wanker bankers having made stupid bets with each other when they're drunk.
Do you reckon?
No bad thing has happened. It's not like all the pigs in South America suddenly died of blight. You know, it is just people were juggling with numbers that didn't exist, and it got out of hand because they're arseholes. We've known they're arseholes for ages.
Can somebody tell me why you are not on Newsnight, David? It would improve this country so much if you just came in on every story. Well, this is pish. But the thing is, right, Gordon Brown, he's wrecked the economy, and now they're also saying they might have a stamp duty holiday, so that's essentially killed the housing market. I've got a new theory, which is Gordon Brown is trying to buy a house. That would make a lot of sense, wouldn't it?
Well, he's going to be looking for a house relatively quickly.
But what's amazing, they keep telling us as well, they're on about staycations all the time. You see this, we're meant to take holidays.
Yes, holidays at home, very
Do
often
the
like
credit
that.
card.
Who's going to have a holiday in Britain when you can fly to Rome on Ryanair or something for like £20? Would you rather be on holiday in Britain or 90 miles away from Rome? A lot of the airports now are so far from their destination. My holiday to Malaga, I took off in Heathrow and landed in Gatwick.
Thompson are actually offering holidays now, aren't they? For £2 a night.
I read the article about how it was £2 a night, and then it said, but there's a catch, in a really sort of judgmental way, but there's a catch, these arseholes. Of course there's a catch. £2 a night. Are people aware of the state of the currency? You don't get £2 a night for a proper holiday since 1840. Of course there's a catch.
It's going to be difficult.
If there's not a catch, the people running the company are about to be sectioned.
It'd be difficult to complain as well if it was £2 a night, wouldn't it? You know, you go, oh, my hotel's not been completed. There's no running water. Yes, sir. That's why it's £2 a night.
Oh, I have to pay for breakfast, do I? Oh, right. Suddenly this £2 a night holiday seems rather mean.
And so, you know what's weird is growing up in Australia, we often had times where we didn't go on holidays. We just stayed at home and went to the beach.
That's because your country is nice.
Australia, for God's sake.
But
I've
actually,
had
getting there's
fantastic
quite
holidays
dangerous,
in
isn't
Britain.
it? What with that Qantas plane, did you see that? There was a hole in the side of it, wasn't it? Because they thought an oxygen bottle had exploded. What had happened was apparently all the oxygen masks had come down, bar a couple, right? That would annoy you, wouldn't it? If everybody else's oxygen mask has come down and yours hasn't, you'd be hoping you were sat next to a kid, wouldn't you? You know? Oh, yes, I'll just help you put yours on after I've affixed mine first.
Do you think if yours doesn't come down, like, is the hostess or whatever sitting there and you're just going ding, ding,
Yeah.
ding, 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 ding. Ding, 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 ding. Ding, 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 ding. At the end of that round, the points go to... At the end of that round, the points go to Frankie, Hugh and Adam. Now we come to our final quickfire round called Scenes We'd Like to See. This is for everyone, so if you can all make your way over to the performance area. I caught ideas for scenarios we'd love to see, and the performers come in with their suggestions. OK, here we go. The first subject is things you wouldn't hear at the Olympics.
The athletes will now go forward to receive their medals and complimentary prawn crackers.
And there is the Chinese coxless 4. It's a harsh punishment, but that's what happens if you lose a heat.
And look, there's Paula Radcliffe in a clown outfit holding a sparkler.
We can't find a national anthem to Togo. We're going to have to use the Benny Hill theme tune.
And that is a personal best. The first time I've managed to crack one off to the weightlifting.
Oh, my
my God, things are really exciting here at the sailing.
And there goes the bell. Someone has stolen the bell.
Now, over to the Paralympics with Glenn Hoddle.
She's past 1, she's past 2. Paula Radcliffe is very ill indeed.
He medalled in Sydney, he medalled in Athens, and he's going to medal here unless someone catches him.
And coming up, your chance to watch teenagers in leotards without feeling bad.
To show you just how polluted this city is, the Javelin has got stuck in the sky.
The leading British swimmer has had to pull out of the 400 metres freestyle because he couldn't find £1 for the locker.
Well, we should have done better in the shooting, and this young team from South Manchester know it.
And anyone who thinks that this opening ceremony is amazing has never been to Blackpool on ecstasy.
OK, the next topic is lines you wouldn't hear in a war film.
We've managed to crack the Germans' code. Turns out they were sending messages in German.
Why are we speaking English?
I'm afraid we can't afford goggles. So what we're going to have to do, we're all going to have to go like this.
Terribly sorry, Sergeant. It's just that when you said let's all band together and take Jerry from behind...
OK, chaps, here's the strategy for escaping from the prisoner of war camp. We sit it out till the end of the war.
I can't feel my legs! That's because your arms have been blown off.
I'm saving Private Ryan. Money on his car insurance.
Is anyone else embarrassed that we've all turned up in the same outfit?
There's only one way to settle this war, through the medium of dance.
Don't worry, Tommy. I'll make sure she gets it. It's chlamydia, isn't it?
You've each been selected for this mission because you're unknown to the enemy and you each have a special skill. Professor Hawking, John Leslie, Phil Neville, the Wu-Tang Clan, Usher, the Sugar Puffs Monster, and Daniel Day-Lewis. Welcome to Operation Mindfuck.
At the end of that round, the points go to Frankie, Hugh and Adam. That's the end of the show. This week's winners are Andy Parsons, David Mitchell and Russell Howard. Commiserations to Frankie Boyle, Hugh Dennis and Adam Hills. Thank you for watching. I'm Dara Breen. Good night.
Keith Chegwin is among the guests in Never Mind the Buzzcocks at 10. Next here on BBC Two, the university's weather system has a funny turn in Lab Rats.